What If I Go by Polly White. He could make this time bearable if I made a friend of him. So there was no hesitation when he asked me to go with him to the cinema the next day. I was totally up for it. He was so lovely. And that day had arrived. A girl couldn't just sit around doing nothing. At last, there was something to get ready for. After a shower, considering what to wear and combing my dripping mop, I galloped through to the kitchen to get some toast. Morning. You look happy. Go on. What are you up to? Debs was washing up her breakfast bowl. Nothing really, I lied, feeling all loved up, then whispering, I'm just going to the cinema this afternoon with the boy from the takeaway, that's all. You know, the nice-looking one with those eyes. He's clever, I can tell. Her mouth fell open. Do you want me to come with you, she asked, in her state that made me laugh. Then Debs warned me to take it slow and asked, what's he after? She's surprised. His family was quite rich, making her jealous. She blabbed to Bella. Do you know about this, Bella? Interrupting her. Do you know that your cupcakes are the best ever? By the way, I'm coming to church on Sunday. Leave me the directions on a map, will you? I finished. That got me in the good books with Bella, who had a huge smile. I pushed Debs into the hall with my index finger to my lips. Shush, will you? Can I borrow the hairdryer and your tweezers? Go on, please. Debs got me them shaking her head, then helped me get ready. She asked this strange question about Zool's wheels. How does he afford his flashy car? I didn't even know that he drove a car, so I shrugged. I agreed to keep her posted on that one. My gorgeous pampering session followed. I dipped into her makeup and made myself pretty for him. We were off to see the Skyfall film because of the cars. He loved the Aston Martin. We met outside after the lunchtime rush at the takeaway. Hello, love. He held my hand on the quick bus hop to the town cinema, being well chatty. He had made an effort with his hair all gelled, using aftershave to cover up any lingering spice pollen. He bought me a drink and let me choose pick and mix. We had lots of chocolate and it started out a good laugh. That was such a long film for kissing, though. He liked it when I jumped and laughed, when I held onto his jacket sleeve in fear. Don't worry, you're safe with Zool, he kept saying. I was kind of glad when it ended, when I straightened myself up and had a break from his constant kissing. That was kind of nice, but a bit embarrassing. I assumed that he was just enthusiastic, savoring my new freedom. You're cheeky, I thought he'd back off. Their popcorn was too expensive, so he took me back to the shop for rice and curry. He didn't have sweets and held hands walking back. I expected we'd head back to Prospect House to eat the takeout and that he'd have to work again. My mobile was still on silent from the cinema, wanting to text my dear Natasha about the date, but finding that he demanded my whole attention, I delayed it. Mom would be too busy to read and might not be entirely happy for me, so I forgot it. He kept me talking then. I ignored this missed call. This was the beginning of Grace, the girlfriend echoed around my silly head. My feet weren't touching the floor as we dropped in at the takeaway. Our food smelled amazing and didn't take his brothers long to serve up. He requested my number 23, like I was someone. He told me about him being the boss there one day. I believed him. He picked up the phone. Spiced kitchen, how may I help you? And took some orders while he waited. He was showing off again, doing 3 things at once, but he was so kind after I'd been through being dumped at the house. I was so grateful. Thanks so much for taking me out, I grinned at him. Then, clearing the plastic chair of leaves, we ate in the yard at the back of the shop before he walked me back. Proving he was a gentleman, saying, you deserve better than this. A princess like you should live in a hotel. Then you would have a better chance of getting a job there. I could find one for you if you want. I gasped with excitement. Could you really? That would be great. There, he only kissed me on our first date. I didn't know what Debs was going on about. It was probably his brother who had the flash car. We agreed to see each other again. He said he'd text me. He sent plenty of them, so he must have been lonely too. I was, happy and told my mom I was, or at least I meant to. Next day came around quickly, although I wasn't ready for what I got. But like a fool, I gulped to wash the heat away from the curry when we got back from the market, where he bought me a fake glistening designer handbag. Gluttony got the best of me, tucking in whilst chatting at the shop. It couldn't have been an ordinary can of Coke. he gave me, though. Me and alcohol don't mix well. It got quite messy. Last time I tried wine at Natasha's wedding, but that time I felt woozy. My knees had gone and it was too late. The Coke tasted kind of bitter. I should have spit it out, but the food had made me quite thirsty. Saying it's just out of date, Zool made out that I could trust him. He made out that everything was okay. How stupid I was to trust him. He had me just where he wanted, confused and compliant. I blanked most of it, but the done deal was coming. Right then, he'd made me into some sad junkie, pretending that it was his birthday and that I owed him. He suggested I could lie down upstairs until I felt better. Falling for his caring pretense, I followed him, holding on to him as the room was weirdly spinning. In the last few days, I'd stupidly let my guard down, which was unlike me. He wasn't after a cake with a few candles in. Typical, the new place, naivety that Uncle Mike's influence would keep me safe, went through my blurring thoughts. This was as the inside of the shop whizzed around and he dragged me up the top back steps. "I'll look after you," he lied. It was as if I'd just got off a bus that had gone around too many bends in the road. I thought I was going to chuck up. He kept on about it being his birthday. "You've got to give me your present," he went bizarrely. Up he took me away from the noise of the fans and scraping pans. I should have refused. As we clonked up the wooden staircase instead, I giggled like a daft kid. He yanked my hand and wouldn't let me go, pulling his earphones out from listening to his tunes. I thought we were going to have a nice chat, stupidly. I felt a buzz from my big man. Zool had made me feel special, or was it the shot? What a cheap date I was. The text messages from home weren't enough for my ego because I was desperate to fit into the scene. I was compliant-ish, admiring the 3 gold chains hanging around his neck, mistaking them for the real deal as he rubbed my chest. I felt tricked. When he flashed his erect thingy at me, I just laughed. Having brothers, I wasn't that impressed. He was having none of it, and his face changed. Then his grip got serious, and he went heavy. "Put it away" was one of the last things that I got out of my rubbery lips. It was just a feeble, jumpy wreck when he seduced me, so I didn't stand a chance of fighting back. Above where his brothers were serving curry, he tore off my clothes. I was completely out of it. He had my top off and was squeezing my boobs. Embarrassed, I pulled away, expecting that his present would be confined to a kiss and a cuddle, but he was too strong for me. I tried to scream out, but had his curry-stained hand stifling my mouth, struggling to breathe. I wanted to warn him what my dad would do if he found out, but that was a lifetime away. My throat went dry, and I felt the agony of tearing skin. It hurt really badly. So I half screamed, but then he threatened me. "Shut it, or else I'll set the dog on you." Charming, my thoughts went, but I'd heard that thing growling out the back, chained to a kennel, more of a Rottweiler than a poodle, from the deep bark. He shocked me. I needed the loo, but daren't say. I saw devil eyes, and defiance warned me to steer clear of them. Red splurges filled my stinging left eye. I blinked to clear it. Rubbing eased the pain of his brutal slap. "What's that for?" I spluttered. For some reason, I was still giggling, and urgency was off my radar. What happened was confusing. After another sharp pain, it went all hazy, and my head was spinning. The drink made me feel quite sick. A voice was telling me that he loved me, but this brutal, heavy, heaving body squashed. The exciting date was off. "I'm giving you what you want. This means you're mine from now on," Zool whispered in my ear. So I filtered the bits of information that I liked to feel less guilty for the parts I enjoyed, kidding myself that this was my first love. He ripped out my innocence as if it were okay. That's when he scratched all up my back with the rusted, creaking bed springs digging in. "Ow!" I still screeched. "It's sharp." He didn't stop, though. Not until I was actually sick on him. I wanted for it all to end. He made me bleed a lot, but tried to make out that it was normal. I wondered if every girl's first time was like that. Having my virginity robbed this way, I sobbed. "What just happened?" "Get off. You're heavy," came out of my mouth far too late.